which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If the clerk would please call the roll call, please.
Councilmember Archibald? Here. Councilmember Haremza?
Here.
Councilmember Lamb?
Here.
Councilmember Moserak?
Here.
Councilmember Payton? Here. Councilmember Pemberton? Mayor Ashford?
Present. Council members, you have before you minutes of the January 12th, 2026 meeting. What is your pleasure?
So moved.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Support.
Second by Councilmember Moserak. Is there any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Moserak?
Yes.
Councilmember Payton?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Our next item on the agenda is our public comment portion, and this is where the clerk will recognize each citizen resident or city business owner who signed up by calling their names, and the speakers may address the city council on any agenda item or any matter under the city's jurisdiction. Speakers are allowed at one 4-minute opportunity to make their comments. So if there's anyone here wishing to make any comments that are, yes, sir.
Well,
Oh.
call. But
Oh,
Bill
you-
Davis
you
is the
call.
first one, so you're right.
Okay.
Again, I appreciate the work of all of you. I appreciate your public servants, and thank you for your service to this great city of Port Huron. Pastor Roxy and I live on the Black River. We're residents of Port Huron. Happily, having lived here for almost 15 years, we looked all over the world for a place to retire. This is where we wanted to retire. No regrets at all. We do live on the Black River, and the Black River is thick with ice this year. My guess is 8 or so inches. In the spring, when the rains come and the weather warms, I think it's going to happen, that river may well become a lake. So I appreciate it when City Manager and Mayor Ashford and all of you support hiring of an icebreaker to break up the ice, especially at the railroad bridge that crosses the Black River. We're up to there, and the water can rise, 6 feet, 6 to 8 feet rather quickly, especially when there's so much ice and so much snow that's going to melt. So thank you all for all that you do for the city and for considering those of us who live on the Black River. I'm grateful for your service in the past and trust your service in the future. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else? Oh, that's right. Well, you know what? I done went back to yesteryears. It must be the freeze. But anyway, so we're back on schedule. So call.
So our next speaker is Rachel Bodley.
My name is Rachel Bodley. I live at 1804 Gillette Street in Port Huron. I moved back in 2012 after living many places and in the Peace Corps. Today is my dad's 3rd anniversary of his death, and I am here, and he would be proud that I am here because he was part of the donating to the Thaw program. I was very happy that he donated religiously to the Thaw program, and he believed that people should not have to be cold in the winter or freeze to death outside. I volunteered all weekend at the Blue Water Allies Center for people who were using it as a warming center and an overnight. There was only a handful of us that volunteered, and I do appreciate them and also the people who delivered some food. With that said, I find it to be despicable and even morally corrupt that the government of the city is allowing people to sleep on the streets and be homeless in this kind of cold and not open warming shelters that are more prepared to hold these people. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. The other thing is I'm thinking is that, you opened with a prayer. And I believe fully in separation of church and state. And the fact that all of you are up here praying and offering to say prayers, yet you show a lot of shame when you are not really looking out for the citizens of this town, especially the people without homes and that are cold. The other thing that I want to mention is that time and time again, it tends to be the LGBTQIA plus individuals who step up in the community. The reason being is that we know what it is like to feel like an outsider. Lives that are only white or Christians that pretend to be Christians should not be the only people that we care for. We have the police bring people straight from the hospital to the center. Mind you, they came with a fall risk attached to their arms. They have mental illness, they have addictions, and they have comorbidity, other types of problems. We opened up because no church except for one in this town opened up. All the warming centers were full. We get little donations to begin with. That we opened up our center and used the money that we use for our community and the allies, because there's shame happening in the Port Huron cities when we're not doing more for the residents. And I hate that everybody is hiding behind religion, and yet they fail if they were a real true believer when it comes to Jesus. We sheltered people, we cleaned up after them, we kept the peace, and we opened regardless of their background, circumstances, and struggles. That is all I have to say. We need to do more for our community. And my mom is tired also because we've had the city tear up our boulevard 4 times, and she wants to make sure that she gets dirt and grass seed this year because she's tired of paying for it on her own. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Betty Hall.
Betty Hall, Stone Street. I just want to say that I was there this weekend at that shelter. Not one of you except Barbara Payton was there. These are citizens of Port Huron. They are homeless. It was so sad to me to watch the police department bring in an elderly lady who was froze half to death, who was scared, and carrying 2 little bags of her belongings. How would you have felt? Because I guarantee you, if they would have found her and brought her in there, we would have found her dead on some side street or some building. How would you have all felt? Don't say that we can't all be in the same situations and things can happen in our lives to make us end up homeless or in a bad situation. We should be wanting to help each other. It was really sad to see that. And thank you, Barbara, for being there and setting up the cots and everything else. I appreciate that, and I appreciate all the people that did, the citizens who brought stuff there and volunteered. I appreciate that. But that being said, I'm just really upset about that. I see that the penalties for the project on Lapeer was $105,000. I want to know, with that money, are we going to give any of the business owners who were hurt by their businesses not being able to run properly, are they going to get any of that money to help pay the taxes and stuff and the money that they lost? The Lincoln Street there's also an issue with the housing projects. So the Lincoln Street lofts, the townhouses in South Park, and the River District housing. Can you let me know what the status is on that? We do need to get housing, but we also need to get lower pay in housing for people who can't afford it. I'm really upset because I cannot get the picture of that poor woman being brought in with the police department, froze. And I'm really upset about that. Also, the roads around here are terrible. I just bought a new vehicle and I'm mad because I didn't buy the extended warranty on the tires. Because I swear to God, on Water Street, from the dentist office till past Dollar General, I swear to God, I thought my car was gonna just be gone. I rode on back roads better than these roads in here in town. So all I'm saying is, as city council, you're supposed to be representing the people here in this town, and you guys need to stop up, not just one person on that, up there. I can't even speak no more, because I still can't get the picture. And just the thought of coming across and having, and there's no place for the women and children to go. Where are they to go? Why didn't we open the doors here? Put some sleeping bags down on the ground to let them have some place to go. It's been cold, and it's gonna be cold for the next 10 days. So what are the plans? That's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is Rachel Farquhar.
Rachel Farquhar, 19th Ave. Thank you to the Alley Center and Barb for opening up for an overnight warming shelter. It would be nice to see more overnight warming shelters in the city. I know we have quite a few that are open during the day. That's all I'll say about that. The other thing I wanted to come up here and say is I wanted to thank the Port Huron Police Department for the way they handled that call over the week where the barricade situation. I listen to the scanner all the time, and the way they handled that situation, the way they stepped back and tried to de-escalate was outstanding. And I hope we continue to learn de-escalation and to train our police officers to de-escalate and keep that as a constant reminder. With everything we see in the media these days with other states and other areas, leading the way and being an example for de-escalation is hopefully going to be our priority. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Brian Farquhar.
It's a long walk from the back row. Brian Farquhar, 19th Avenue. So first off, I'd like to thank Mr. Freed. You kind of heard my call, I guess, last week. The plows came through our neighborhood again, and thankfully they plowed all the way to the mailboxes, so that seems to be fixed. It wasn't until today we saw the first plows, but there's 144 miles approximately of roads, and about a third of those are main drags that I know have to be taken care of before the city street. So, you know, it was within a decent time frame, and it's nice that everything's pushed all the way to the mailboxes. So it's good to see that. I come up here quite often, and I like city government, if you guys haven't quite figured that out. I like the way it works. I'm kind of fascinated by it, but one of the main reasons I really like city government and why I think you all are important is because you guys actually decide what happens in our town and the effectiveness of how it happens. And let me explain that. Like, on a national level, no matter who the president is, if they make a decision today, we as citizens might have, unless you're military or government employed, you know, somehow directly affected into the federal government, we've got 30 days to prepare to, you know, bunker down, change finances, do whatever to try to make it work. If you guys vote on something tonight here, it changes come tomorrow morning. So it's important. City government is important, right? We opened tonight with a prayer, and I was taken kind of aback by something that was said by the pastor. It said, desire to help others. And I'm also going to speak on the warming shelters and the rest. And Mr. Freed, you and I had conversations about homeless shelters before, and it's time for the city to open that checkbook, sir. You know, we had that conversation before and the rest of it, and there's no reason anybody should possibly freeze out on the streets because of fire code. I don't give a damn about the fire code in this building, okay? If somebody needs somewhere to sleep at night, let's open the doors and find somewhere for them, okay? We have McMorran. That's a designated shelter. There's signs. It says shelter. Why was McMorran not open that night? We give hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I'll name it out, B-Rock, BW Rock. They do great things in the community and the rest of it. They're in the paper as a warming shelter, but they closed on Friday at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. What do we do? We go out the doors and the rest of it? So let's be conscious of where we fund in these organizations that we fund and give money to and the rest of it, and you know, and let's look at things like that. Let's look at where these events are taking place for these organizations and the rest of it. And realistically, since I'm out here and the rest of it, I really hope the city didn't pay any funds for that event at the Wrigley Center and pay any bar tab for that place. That would be downright despicable, wouldn't it? Like, that'd be terrible. And I'll call that out because they used the party at the Wrigley Center in their advertisement on their Facebook page. They did. Which is crazy, right? This is a recovery center. So let's be conscious of where we're giving funds to. Let's make sure they're doing the work that they're supposed to do in the community. And thank you to Mrs. Payton for opening the doors that night, because she had another event scheduled and it kind of coincided. And if anybody, Mr. Freed, I encourage you to pull the body cam footage from that woman being brought in, because
Thank you.
she would have passed away.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Merrick Latulip. Emmerich.
Ashford. I am a citizen of Port Huron. I'm not going to give my address because I do not believe that monitoring my address is just, nor do I feel safe doing so. Nothing against you guys, but yep, we had a rough weekend, clearly. I want to talk about politics and how they apply to our city. And if you if you haven't been living under a rock, you might have heard about our a shooting that happened over the weekend with this gentleman in Minneapolis. This gentleman had 7 officers surround him, jump him, pin him, hold him, and hit him, and his legs only started to flail when bullets entered his body. We have a lot of people in this world who unfortunately will see any resistance to unjust laws as violence. I would argue that the enforcement of a law causing undue immoral abuse and breaking of other laws, like rights to a lawyer and other rights that have been violated, is unjust and due for that kind of resistance. We stand with Minneapolis in their resistance of this revenge-fueled occupation, which has been targeting this state despite being disproportionately containing undocumented immigrants comparatively to red states like Texas or Florida. Given that we are a border state, in this city especially, I wish to preemptively make the statement that we do not want ICE agents coming into our community to occupy its streets in mass of thousands, to harass our citizens who live, work, play, and pay taxes here. Documented or otherwise, they certainly deserve equitable respect of the law that every person on our stolen soil receives. We as Americans revere MLK, so you probably know that at the end of his life, he had changed his opinion of the choices between violence and nonviolence, as he believed that there was only a choice between nonviolence and non-existence. MLK would argue that it is our moral obligation to disobey unjust laws, and I feel this man was doing what he felt was his civic duty, which was to protect his neighbors. This man was an observer with a cell phone who was unjustly pushed to the ground and dragged away when he was simply trying to help a woman stand when she fell on the ice. The fact that there are people that want to say that being present at a protest is impeding law enforcement and is a crime that is considered violence against law enforcement deserving of death, I'm going to need you to admit that repealing gay marriage and other similar protections for queer and trans people is violence against the LGBTQ community. This should be serving to tell folks that no one deserves to die, not mentally ill, not struggling, not the people resisting. Nurses, doctors, social workers, direct care workers, we all have to accept aggression on the daily. You are not even allowed to defend yourself if someone hits you. But they managed to diffuse, and they managed to talk, and they managed to humanize and de-escalate violence every day without participating in gun violence. They get people to cooperate with them without the threat of death. It is very much possible. Defund and demilitarize all law enforcement across the country until they prove that they have a civilian liaison who is there purely to care for underprivileged, mentally ill, and disabled people. If we're going to defund mental health, this is the least we can do. I have an anecdote I witnessed from PHPD at Mid-City Nutrition weeks ago, but I sense my time is coming up soon, so I'm going to leave that for another day. But this definitely is not something that is an exemption of our city. The conflict, there have been 9 lives claimed by ICE homicide in 2026 alone. I have yet to hear of a single ICE agent passing away during this entire administration in the last 2 years, despite claims by officials that violence has escalated in the last year. I'd say quadrupling your quota of arrests is bound to cause undue harm when you are indiscriminately arresting people regardless of their immigration status or not, whether they are legally entering, whether they are actual citizens or not. 65% of those people had no prior criminal convictions. And this kind of statistic is everywhere. You can look it up yourself because I'm running out of time still, so.
Your time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is the concerned citizen. I don't know, you checked the box.
Hello, everybody. Name's Concerned Citizen, Port Huron area, handicapped. Everybody comes here, all prepared. I have my list, this big, that's all I need. The list, I have a problem with that. Where has America turned into the Gestapo? What's next? We're gonna get a barcode, numbers on our arm? Problem, let's get this taken care of. I didn't vote on this, 4 bootleggers did. Next thing, Lapeer Road. Lapeer Road, for goodness sake, who the hell goes and puts asphalt down in the middle of the winter? You don't even have to be intelligent to figure that one out. So this road's gonna fall apart in the next 2-3 years, tops. This is what I did for a living. I did concrete, asphalt, masonry. So, I already brought that up. That road's junk. Who's gonna pay for it? Who's gonna pay for our cars that go and get destroyed up and down these roads? Anybody up here gonna go and take that? Next thing, Pocket Park. God, is that a good one? I mean, this is just 100% gold. We run 100% junk. Nothing gets done in this county. What we do is we pour footings in the middle of December with calcium chloride, which leaches will always go into the water, be in the water. It's no good. If you ever looked at a building that had masonry and it has white streaks up and down it, that's called calcium chloride, and it never goes away. 20 years from now, you'll power wash it every year, and it still comes out. That's going to be leaching into our waters. I mean, we can't screw up in this town anymore. Only thing we have is frivolous waste of money. The best part of it all, though, honest to goodness, our roads, they're wonderful. They're wonderful. I got to praise all of you for this. Is the end of the expressway. What is this jig-jog nonsense back and forth, loop-de-loops and figure eights? Where's the straight shot? I mean, we live in Michigan here. You can't even stop on these icy roads to go and do a jig-jog. Come on, people. Somebody has to have some kind of form of inclination of what the frick they're doing here. There's nothing. Nobody knows anything. The building inspectors, junk. People that go and look in people's garages, junk. I mean, can we have one good thing in Port Huron? I love this town. I love this town. I hate this. We need real people. We need real people to have heart. And I did appreciate, honestly, that the Reverend came up here and he spoke. But unfortunately, Reverend, we don't have anybody that's doing anything.
Sir, this is just the council, okay?
I just want to go and point out, I think that's great. And, you know, we're supposed to have a separation between government and law and stuff, but we need a little heart. We shouldn't even, there shouldn't be anybody up here talking about the people that are cold out there. I mean, McMorrin, for God's sake, open it up. This isn't a game anymore. People are dying out there. Nobody has any money, the rent's hit the roof. Our taxes aren't getting cheaper. I know, I pay them every year, and they go up and up, and matter of fact, I pay more and I get less service. And I'm upset. I can tell if any of you people live on any of these roads because they're plowed. Mine isn't. Thank you for your road being plowed. Thank you. And I appreciate everybody that actually listens. But we gotta have things taken care of here. Things need to be done. They need to be done properly. You don't pour
Sir, your
concrete in the
time is
middle of
up.
winter.
Thank you so much for your comments. You have a nice evening.
I appreciate your kind words. That helps the community.
Next, please.
We have one final speaker in this public comment, and that's going to be Craig Schlinkard. You're the non-resident. Melissa, yep, so you'll speak later.
Excuse me. Porter called, she called your name, sir. Could you please take the mic?
Can't hear you.
Oh, that's right, you got that.
Yeah, because I'm hard of hearing.
Okay.
Thanks for this, by the way, finally. Wish you guys would talk to me about it. I got a fat head. This really doesn't fit my head well. But, I'll make do. I didn't want it until after I ended up spending some time here. I didn't want to waste anyone's money. So anyhow, 300 hours of sub below zero, whatever, 32 degrees, seems like a pretty big thing to me. I do believe that people should be taken care of. You guys apply yourselves in ways that don't make any sense to me, but it is what it is. You guys obviously don't give a rat's ass if anyone talks up here, so sure, whatever. Just keep up the good work of not listening and making people identify themselves when there's no legal way to make them do that, and make up some rules, because that's great, and that's dumb. So let's go ahead and continue doing that, because that's the way things work in this town. Beyond that, it would be nice if we could have the rule of law matter in this town, because it doesn't. There is no standard here other than what you guys don't support. There's supposed to be an interactive process when you are taking care of things with the ADA and telling everyone that you support the ADA and you're in compliance, but you're not, because we wouldn't have had to actually go out and get new stuff if we were in compliance. But we don't want to listen to that. We don't want to listen to the guy who actually wants to use the shit. No, we're going to go ahead and say, no, we don't want to listen. In fact, just sue us, right? That's what it's always been since dealing with this police department for the first time when they were robbing everyone in their parking. It would be nice if you actually gave a fuck. Have a nice night.
Thank you. Excuse me, may we have order? It's still a meeting. Thank you. That's it for them? Okay. So members, we have before us now our consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by,
We did miss a section,
we missed,
the city managers.
oh, I forgot.
That's right.
Sorry about that.
My bad.
Yeah, Madam Mayor and Council, I'll just briefly touch on the warming centers. We have worked with our coordinating services body, which is a group of all of our nonprofits in the county, anticipating the cold weather. We assembled a list of more than 5 different warming centers throughout the city, most of them run by nonprofits. Several of them ran at Code Blue status. Code Blue status meant that any given point during the night, someone could have walked in and been to used that status, including Be Warm, could have used that shelter. So we did have warming centers open. When the government does things, there's a lot more regulatory compliance, meaning McMorrin is not a designated shelter. McMorrin is a designated bomb shelter from the 60s. When you keep residents overnight and past a certain amount of time, there's state laws that go into effect on staffing levels, who can be there, the training that has to go into it. There's a lot of regulations. So you just open up a facility, having people come stay there for several days. There's a lot to it. That's why we rely on our nonprofits, the people who do those work, which we fund that. The city has issued grant funds to help build these shelters. BW Warm, which was at Code Blue status this weekend, that's a shelter that was built largely in part of public funding. through the city of Port Huron through grants throughout various years. So we do work with our nonprofits when we anticipate cold weather. We identify warming shelters, we make them available to the public, which we did that. We utilize the nonprofits, which we help fund and construct, to build the shelters. So when you say the city should build a shelter, we've done that. We've funded the construction of these shelters. And so if we onboard more capacity, we will do that. Our officers, when they find someone, they take them to the nearest place that's claimed to be open or designated as open. I do appreciate Blue Water Allies for stepping up in a big way. It is disappointing I'm a lifelong churchgoer, and it is disappointing that a lot of churches didn't open up. And so I think that's a conversation I will have with the Ministerial Association as well, whom I meet with every Thursday as well. So that conversation will take place. So the city did coordinate warming centers. We worked with the nonprofits, and we did use taxpayer funds over the last several years to help build those and expand their capacity, just as we anticipated. And again, they were at Code Blue status. Should anyone need to be taken there, they are ready and willing. That's it.
Any more comments? Okay. Okay. All right, so we can move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion again?
So moved again.
Moved by support Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Lamb. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Haremza.
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak.
Yes.
Councilmember Payton.
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Mayor Ashford.
Yes. We have 3 items on the consent agenda. Resolution number 3, approving the appointment of Andrew Kirchner and Tanner Malcolm of the to the Historic District Commission with a term to expire March the 10th, 2027. Resolution number 4, approving the appointment of Tanner Malcolm as an alternate to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a term to expire July the 1st, 2028. Resolution number 5, confirming the mayor's appointment of John Whitmore to the Downtown Development Authority with a term to expire February the 9th, 2030. Okay, and that was your consent agenda. Now we will go to, from the city manager, 1.
Accepting the bid from Wadham's Equipment in the amount of $86,258 for the purchase of a Kubota skidster for use by the Parks Department.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Councilmember Lamb, second by,
Support.
who is that? Mosrak? Councilmember Mosrak, any discussion on that?
Madam Mayor and Council, this machine will allow us to add a whole bunch of parts, attachments to it, like mulchers and whatnot. The reason why we're doing this is actually a cost-saving measure. We have been averaging more than $25,000 a year in rental costs to rent a skid steer when we need it. And so it makes sense at this point, we're using it so much to purchase one and have it within our fleet. So this will reduce our rental burden as well on an annual basis.
Okay, is there any questions or anything? Yes.
How many years in a row have we rented equipment?
For as long as I can remember.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any more discussion? Okay. This does seem like a high price. Is there anything that stands out with this, or?
Yeah, you can get so this is the larger model, which will allow us to put the attachments on, which are like the mulchers and brush hogs, thing we can use in our forestry division. So that's why we had to buy the one that had enough PTO power to drive those.
Okay, so it kind of have multi-usage
Yep.
attached
Yep,
to it.
because I actually went online, I found one for $49,000, and I said, what's wrong with this one? And they told
Okay.
me, well, here's why, so.
Oh, okay.
Very good question, same question I asked today.
Oh, okay, thank you. Okay. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Lamb.
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak.
Yes.
Councilmember Payton.
No.
Councilmember Archibald.
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza.
Yes.
Mayor Ashford.
Yes. Okay, resolutions, number 1.
Approving to revoke the obsolete property rehabilitation exemption certificate issued to Port Huron Hotel Real Estate Holdings Company, LLC, for the property located at 802 Military Street.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald and second by
Support.
Councilmember Lamb. Is there any discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Give us-
because the property was transferred to SC4, they're no longer subject to the ad valorem tax, and therefore this has to be removed.
Oh, okay. Is there any questions of that explanation? Okay. And we didn't lose anything in the process, did we?
No.
I mean, with the transfer, just.
No,
across the
correct,
board,
and because the
just-
property was already, they were already getting their taxes captured, we actually didn't lose any tax revenue.
Oh, okay.
In the near term, now, 10 years on the road, we would.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Resolution number 2.
Assigning vacated portions of 30th Street to parcel number 74-06-185-0061-100.
Okay, is there a motion?
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Mosherak and second by Councilmember Lamb.
Archibald?
Oh, it was Archibald, Mayor Pro Tem Archibald. Any discussion?
Madam Mayor and Council, the property that we signed a purchase agreement for last time, this is a old vacated road that runs through the middle of it. So they will vacate that road, and they're hoping to have construction underway this summer, and that will service and support U.S. Fairthane. So U.S. Fairthane will be the end user of that building, which they currently have 576 jobs in the city of Port Huron. They're looking to grow upon that. So it'll be very, very useful for all, but many of us have friends and neighbors who work at U.S. Fairthane. So this will be very exciting for that company. You'll see a much more detailed announcement from the MEDC.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Vote, please.
Okay. Councilmember Peyton?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Haremza?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Mayor Ashford?
Yes. Now we're at our second half of public comment, and this is for non-residents, and we do have some?
We have one speaker,
Okay.
Melissa Merchant.
Okay, and the clerk will recognize each non-resident who signed up by calling their name. I said clerk, I got it this time. And speakers may address the city council on any agenda item or any matter under the city's jurisdictions. Speakers are allotted 1 4-minute opportunity to make their comments. Oh, you're there, already there. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Ashford and
Good
City
evening.
Council. My name is Melissa Merchant. I've been a lifelong resident of St. Clair County. I live in Fort Gratiot currently. I have 2 questions I want to present to the council first. One, I'm not obviously expecting an answer. It's something I want the council to be thinking about seriously.
Okay.
What are you going to do to protect the citizens of this city from the fascism and tyranny of immigration and customs enforcement when they eventually show up? Because we know they will show up. So we need to have a plan for that, because, and how are we going to protect not just every citizen, but especially our black and brown citizens? Also then, this comes to our polar vortex this weekend. We need to do more to help the homeless. I volunteer with both Blue Water Ally Center and Kind Human for Humankind. Kind Human, we do exclusively a lot of work with the homeless. This past weekend, there was only one way to describe it, and I can't use the word, so I'm going to call it a debacle. We have all these huge buildings all over the city that have been sitting vacant for decades, and I know because I have never left this county. They are the same buildings, and they have been sitting there for decades. If you really wanted to solve this problem, it could be solved. We need more shelters. There is no place for women to go unless they are being beat up, and that's even limited. We just have nowhere for them. We need more social workers, more social services, and more counselors. Whether you want to admit it or not, Port Huron has an extremely high poverty rate and homeless population. Everybody deserves to have a warm place to sleep. Mental health issues and substance abuse problems don't make you any less human. Everybody deserves shelter, dignity, respect, and kindness. We are all human, and not one of us is perfect. If we all started asking the person next to us, "Are you okay? What do you need?" Humanity can't sustain itself if we don't start caring about the people on either side of us. Shame on the churches of St. Clair County for not opening your doors. Minus a thank you to the Salvation Army of Port Huron. The rest of the churches in this area, really, and I'm an atheist, they need to start asking themselves, what would Jesus do? Because we need to get back to what the tenets of Christ were, the basic decency to humanity. I think that, what is the point of churches if not to shelter the poor and feed the hungry? We need to start helping our neighbors more. We need to become a community. We need to help our homeless community members. They are not homeless people. They are homeless community members with stories, with families, with pasts, with hopes and dreams too. And we need to start taking better care of them. Because this weekend was an eye-opener. I spent 3 days working with them. Finally just finished tonight, got our last 2 into a hotel for the next few nights. On our dime, the Ally Center, because there's no more funds. So I really want this council to seriously start thinking about homeless community members, because we are in crisis. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Is that the only one? Oh, okay. I'd like to thank everybody for coming forth during the first public hearing and also the second. And we will take all your conversation that you conveyed to us seriously and see what we could do to look into that to help make that difference, okay? So that's not a problem. That's something that we need to do, and we realize that. And we have had the conversation over the weekend. I think I had it with Barb and a few others here, and that has been on our minds. So it's not like we don't think about that. And so we need to do something about it, not just think about it. It needs action. So we're going to make sure that we do that. But I would like to take a privilege here. I'd like to call out Mohammed. He's from Lisa McLean's office. Mohammed, would you like to have a few words to us here? The woman, oh, okay. Well, he does a lot. He's anytime something's going wrong, like we have things here, and I'm sure he heard all of you tonight also. He probably took note of that, the homeless shelter and everything. We have a lot of grants that he had already told me about, so maybe we could get together and pull our resources together to make a difference. That's how you make a difference, and that's why he's here. He's listening to you talk to us, and so if we can't do it or whatever at that part, and it's not can't, because all things are possible. We just got to do it the right way and connect to the people that can help us do that. So I'll be talking to you on that on behalf of all of us to see what we could do. So thank you. So we're gonna do that, because it's very important. We don't want anybody freezing it or anything like that. And also to James, I did talk to James also about that. So it's been the conversation. It's just that we need to get a plan. You can't just say something and talk about something and not do anything about it, because that's the only thing that you understand, the tangible things. So what did you do? And that's what we need to do. So we're going to accept that responsibility and make that happen.
Mayor Ashford?
Not just, okay, we're going to accept that and just happen. Just let me make the announcement, and then I'll do a round table.
Yep.
Okay, and so again, thanks for all of you, and don't stop coming. If you got something on your mind, give it to us. We don't know everything, and we work for you. You got to let us know. And I know people get to the mic. I would like to say this. I mean, it's the First Amendment. We can't say, you hear a lot of things to how you said it, when you said it. A lot of times I don't want people going way off, but still, that is your right, and we're supposed to listen. And so that's what we're going to do, because you have a passion, and we don't know what state it is, but we just appreciate your presence and you've given us the opportunity when you speak out to do something. So with that, we have an announcement. We have a special meeting to discuss goals. It says possible, I don't know, possible goals? I'm gonna have to ask you about that when I finish reading
That
it.
was just me. That's what we.
Oh, that was you?
That's how we normally do it.
Phraseology? Okay, well, words make a difference. Okay, so I'm saying we're having a special meeting to discuss our goals for the year 2026 and 2027 fiscal year. Will be held on Thursday, February the 5th at 5:30 PM in Conference Room 408, and there is an opportunity for the public to speak. So if you have some goals or some ideas that you'd like to put forth, you're more than welcome to join us on February the 5th at 5:30 PM. It's on the 4th floor, conference room 408. Okay, now this time I will entertain roundtable if anybody has anything.
Yes, please.
Chair recognizes Councilmember Payton.
Thank you. I just want some clarification as far as the Code Blue centers. Mr. Freed, which one were, on deck to take people in?
The one within the city of Port Huron was Be Warm.
Be Warm, correct. But there were no other organizations that were opening themselves up, because we got that direct word from Be Warm, from Blue Water Community Action, from the Soup Kitchen, that no one else was on deck to open up. So that's why we did, and we figured it out in about an hour and a half as to how we could open up our Blue Water Ally Center. So it's just very disappointing to me that there was no other building that was going to open up to these people. So we had 20 people overnight, 2 nights in a row. The first night, I think we had about 9 people, because they didn't know that we were we're not a warming center, but we became one. Very quickly we learned, and it was heartbreaking. It was hard to watch, and we've failed our people that are unhomed here. And so I just think that we need to do better, and I will join Mr. Freed to go and talk to the clergy, the churches. I'm very disappointed, especially in Colonial Woods. They are one of the most well-funded and largest churches that we have in St. Clair County. And the fact that they did not open up to help the people that they're supposed to care for is just, it's appalling. So I will go with him and speak with them. And I just think we need to do better. So thank you, Mayor Ashford.
Thank you. Is there any other comments to bring forth?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I would just like to add, so we have opened up warming centers before, and no one's ever come. And the only time we have people show up to our shelters is when there's an extenuating circumstance, like a power outage as well. So we are prepared, if need be, to open up a shelter, but it requires significant staffing when there's an additional power outage issues. We did not, if people were willing to go someplace, we did not have people out in the street freezing. We found places for people. Our officers did a wonderful job. They know where to look when it's cold out. They know where people, like to camp out and where they're at, and they do check on them and make sure if they want to go someplace, they take them someplace. And so our officers do a wonderful job, but we did not have a lack of places to take people when we found someone. So the idea that there was people with no place to go, that just wasn't the case. We were able to find places for people to go throughout this entire weekend. Of course, if we found people who had no place to go, we would have brought them to City Hall or any place. We're not just going to leave them out in the cold. That is not something that we do. So we have worked with our groups, and if we ever have a capacity issue, we will take extraordinary measures to address the capacity issue. But we did find places for the people we encountered to make sure they were safe and warm. Nobody got left out in the cold who wanted to come with us.
Oh, excuse me, this is just the council. There's no conversation out there, okay? We gave you your opportunity. Thank you, though.
And if you ever find someone who's out in the cold and has no place to go, call 911, put it on the record, and we'll go get them.
Okay, and with that, last but not least, we need a plan to execute on behalf of the warming centers, and we're going to do our due diligence and get that done.
We have a plan.
Okay, well, we need to revisit that and see what it is.
More than happy to
We need to
revisit it.
communicate it to the people that need to know it.
More than happy to do that.
Okay, you may have something, but we need to make sure, as a council, as a governing body, that we're doing our due diligence. So with that, is there A motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.